Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be working on a new succulent arrangement, but first I've got to disassemble the old one. And this is just the product of an arrangement sitting on the kitchen table through the holidays, and it had a little bit of neglect, but we're going to turn it around and make it beautiful again. A succulent arrangement today that I made in the summertime, and since I brought it inside, it's really needed to be redone and reworked. There's some that I can save and there's some that I don't think I can. So look, like this poor guy, he is just shriveled up and he needs help. He's probably gonna go in the trash. But I've got some really nice ones that I got at the garden center a few weeks ago on a cold winter's day. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, is making a new arrangement. But first of all, I've got to disassemble this one, and I'll go over a few tips on how to put these in and what kind of bowl this is. This is actually called a Sedona bowl. This was actually my dad's bowl that he used when he put in succulents. He did some really cool arrangements. But anyways, it's got a drainage hole underneath, and that's what you want when you do a succulent arrangement. I've learned from experience by putting them in cute little containers that didn't have holes, and they ended up either just drying out because I was afraid I was watering them too much, or I ended up watering them too much and then they drowned, and so you know how that goes. But anyways, this has a drainage hole, and I can actually soak it from the bottom, and that's kind of how I've been keeping succulents alive right now, is by using these little pot drainage trays. These tiny little containers, these tiny little pots, actually, the succulents dry out pretty quickly. So you've got to find that fine line of watering them or not over watering them also. So what I've been doing is soaking them in this tray, and that's really been helping. But once I get them in a bigger pot, they're gonna actually last longer, and I'm gonna pack them in really good also so they don't grow too quickly. Or hopefully not become too leggy, because we've still got a few more months before summer. And I like to put them outside on the patio in a part sun location. They get morning sun and afternoon shade. And I was watering with the hose. I don't think you're supposed to, but they did fine. Actually, I bought one of those big syringe things, and I have no idea where I put it. And I just haven't bought another one, but that is another good way to water them, and getting in between each one is using that syringe. So I think that's everything I'm gonna need right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna be using my hori knife to get in there and just kind of pop these succulents out. And some of them I'm gonna save, and some of them I'm not. Like, I don't know if, I guess if I have room, I might put this little guy in there. But this shriveled up raisin, he's gonna have to go. And this one, I don't know the names of these because I didn't save the containers. But if I can find out what they're called, I'll put it up on the screen. We're finally getting warmer temperatures. I'm so excited. I can actually start walking outside again. This one I'm definitely saving. And this one, this has good texture. It kind of looks like it's under the water. That's a cute one. This one, I might be able to save the little rosettes. Oh, you have to be careful when you're pulling these out. One of these that you've lost a piece, you can actually just put it on the surface and let it root in. And then it'll start growing another little floweret or little flower, or I don't know what you call them. A little floweret. And then also with one of these, if you cut it at one of the nodes, like this, I'm not gonna stick this in the new arrangement with it all leggy like this, but you can actually cut it. We'll see if, I'll cut it right here for now. But if you see these little nodes on here, once you put those in the soil, it'll actually start growing roots from those little nodes. So that's a helpful little tip. I don't know if you've seen in my other videos, but I have a German Shepherd and I have a Golden Retriever, so I've got dog hair on a lot of things. There's dog hair on everything. I have to have a lint roller nearby. And what I've noticed now is I'll find little hairs on my plants that have been outside. This one I will probably cut down to a little bit smaller size and see if I can fit it in the next arrangement. Kind of making a big mess right now. But that's the fun part of gardening, right? And you just go through and just pull off all the dead leaves on there. Just get it nice. Oops, lost that piece. And it is okay to take some of the soil off and give it a little bit of extra room when you put it in there, when you put it into the arrangement. And I don't know if you can see, I'm just going around and just taking all of the dead off here. I'm not gonna go too far into the plant because it's gonna break off the little petals. Ooh, there is a big ant in here. So I'm going to actually take this and just dump it out in the compost pile outside. I did have a little bit of soil that seemed like it was okay, and I'm gonna just leave that in there so I might have like a little extra soil. This is the succulent and cacti potting mix that I'm using. This is what I'm gonna put in the bowl. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna go through my design and see where I want to place everything. I'm not sure if I want to start off with the bigger one for a centerpiece. I do know that I want to use these along the edges of the bowl. So, and a little tip I learned is by putting the chin, kind of tilting the chin right on the lip of the container, and it gives a more cohesive design, kind of where it's mounding up a little bit. So I'm just going through, and also for color arrangement, I did try to find all the colors that I like to incorporate with the designs, and that's red, yellow, blue, and green. And I kind of struggled with their selection, finding any, I couldn't find any like orange or really red. I wanted a lot of multicolors, but it was kind of limited. So I got some variegated colors here. I think that would be pretty to give it some height. And then I've got some pinks and a dark green. Texture wise, got these little finger-like type plants. Different textures and different structures to give it some height. You want to One rule of thumb that I always think of that I learned a long time ago in doing containers is you want a thriller, which is tall, and then you want a filler, something that kind of fills in, and then you want a trailer, something that is a spiller. And that would be these little string of pearls here. So you would have that going over the edge. So I'm going to incorporate that same concept while I'm designing this arrangement today. And I think what I'm going to do now is just kind of figure out the color placement and how I want to arrange these guys. Okay, I had to change clothes. I was getting a little too warm while I was putting this arrangement together, and dogs are always needing to come in and out. But I think I've got an idea of how I want the design to go. I'm trying to find different colors here. This one is called Pink Diamond Echeveria. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I like how the colors of the pink kind of highlights the pink in this, what is it called? No, not jade. Out really nice. It looks really pretty. I wished I would have had some different color variations, some oranges and more reds, but again, I couldn't find a lot of that at the store, so I'm happy. I love the pink and the little spiky and the little soft velvety ones, and then the underwater looking creature looking things. They're really, I love succulents. They're so neat looking. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this helps anybody that is trying to put one of these together and needed any inspiration. But I really appreciate you joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.